Hey everyone, it's Alex Martinez, and in today's video, we're going to be covering not only how to wholesale real estate, but today we have Tim here, and Tim's an employee at one of our companies. He wants to learn how to wholesale real estate, but also how can he make $10,000 from wholesaling in about 30 days or less.
Right, and there are so many examples that you guys have all the time of people making 10,000, maybe even more in that time frame, less than a month, right? So really quick, from a beginner's standpoint, like why do you recommend wholesaling and as opposed to like house flipping or like buying a rental right away?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't have the money to put down on a rental, right? That can be $15,000, $30,000 more on a rental property. So, and then when it comes to fixing and flipping, that can be a 3-month, 8-month. I've had fix and flips take over 12 months. It can be a long project till you actually realize your profit on there. So the great thing about wholesaling, right, if you're just starting out, you're a beginner, you can technically wholesale a house. You get a property under contract. You can wholesale that in an hour. You can wholesale that in 24 hours. Really an hour, 24 hours, 2 days, 3 days, 14 days. So it's faster. It's easier because there's just less steps than fixing and flipping a property.
Right.
Don't got to manage the contractors. At the end of the day, there's little to no risk when wholesaling the right way too. A lot of risk when you're buying a fix and flip deal. You're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're off on your numbers, that can be a $50,000, $100,000 mistake. That hurts. And there's risk when you're buying and holding a property. You're going to own that property, so you better for sure make sure it cash flows. So there's risk when you're buying the assets. In wholesaling, we're never actually buying the asset. We're just getting it under contract and selling those contract rights. So as a beginner, it's a great way to get started. It's what I recommend to get started. I would never want someone who wants to get into real estate to go buy $1 million house flip and go do it for the first time. I have a $200,000 renovation budget. That's a lot of risk. But for wholesaling, what we love about it is you can see results pretty quickly. So, one student, for example, Kiera, she's in New Orleans, and what we're going to be talking about today, it's not just applicable in one state. We've replicated this across all states across the United States. And so Kiera, she joined one of our programs, and within 30 days, she made $15,000 from her first deal within 30 days. And that shouldn't be everyone's expectation. I just want everyone to know if you don't get a deal within 30 days, it's completely fine. It's about working on the necessary steps, the necessary tasks in order to acquire these deals, get them under contract, and wholesale them. So does it take longer for some people to get their first deal? Yeah. But is it absolutely possible to get it within 30 days? For sure. And that's what I want to talk about today with you.
Yeah, definitely. So me who wants to make $10,000, I want to do it in a very short amount of time. So how much money can you actually make, let's say, in a 30-day period? And what's kind of the average wholesale fee that you've seen somebody make in 30 days? There's
different stats out there. I've seen over $20,000 average wholesale fees across the United States. What we shoot for is a bare minimum of $10,000 per wholesale deal. We feel like that's an appropriate amount for the work that we put into each deal. Sometimes a deal will take 2 hours, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes longer than that. But you get a very high dollar amount per hour that you put in these deals. So I recommend shooting for at least 10. Our deals are usually around $10,000 that we see. So that's what I'd recommend. So all it takes, for you to make $10,000 from a wholesale deal is just doing one deal.
Right.
One deal. And what I want to do today is really break it down in a systematic manner so that you understand what the heck does it take to get that one deal.
Yeah, I want to reach that dollar amount. So if you could break down for me kind of the general process as to how to get that $10,000 in that 30-day period, wholesaling real estate.
Yeah, so what you want to do, what we need to think about is, how many offers, written offers, does it take to get one deal? Generally, we see it takes 10 to 15 offers to get one deal. To get a deal under contract that you wholesale and make $10,000. Doesn't take months to send one offer. You can send an offer on a daily basis. So let's break it down. You're doing an offer a day, 30 days in a month. You're submitting 30 offers. That can get you about 2 deals in a month. And when you're starting out, you're going to stink at submitting offers. You're going to stink at analyzing properties. You're going to stink at all these things. So is it probably going to take you a little more than what we see it typically takes a person who's a little more experienced, is it going to take a little more offers probably for you? Yeah, it probably is. So, but as long as you have the right expectations, okay, it should take about 10 to 15 offers. And right, we just released an interview recently with Chase and Diana Kenny, and 1 in 4 offers for them got them their first wholesale deals. So they submitted 8 offers, got 2 deals. But I want everyone's mindset to be in that 10 to 15 offer range.
Got it.
So if we, reverse engineer the goal of $10,000, and you submit anywhere between 15 to 30 offers in a month, that should get you about that one deal that makes you $10,000.
Right. And so a question that I had was, property prices vary kind of a lot, right? So no matter where you find them, off market or on market. So say 10,000 is my base, right? So if the first step is like finding these properties, like where do I start to look for them, right? To get that $10,000 payout for wholesaling.
Yeah, I mean, this normal amount of $10,000, whether a property is listed for $200,000 or sometimes $800,000 or $1 million, generally we still see that $10,000 mark, because the goal is, when we're wholesaling real estate, the goal is for you to get it below market value.
Right. And
the more below market value you get a house under contract, the bigger your wholesale fee. But here's what happens, and what everyone needs to understand: we're dealing with $800,000, $1 million properties. Now there's more risk involved for that end buyer, that cash buyer. So what do they need? That for a cash buyer who wants to fix and flip $1 million house, they're not going to be happy with a $30,000 profit flip on that. Right. They're not going to take on over $1 million of risk. That's $1 million purchase price plus maybe $200,000 of renovation to make $30,000. So we've seen this fee of $10,000 because you go at a higher price. It can change. It can be a bigger wholesale fee, but generally it's around this $10,000, sometimes $20,000 price point. So, because if you want to make a $10,000 wholesale fee and you're in the middle of America and the house is worth $150,000 of market value, and you get under contract at $140,000, you can make a $10,000 wholesale fee on that. You can make a $10,000 wholesale fee on that if your cash buyer wants to make $30,000, $40,000 of profit on it. If you find, we just had a student who wholesaled, a house was on the market for I think $1.695 million, and then they got under contract at $1.4 million, and then they wholesaled it at $1.410. So they made $10,000 on it. But that's just like a case in point of, like, you're dealing with as you start going up higher in price points, you're dealing with a more specific buyer. Right. Because generally fix and flippers, their bread and butter are 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet houses, not the 1.2 million houses that are 5,000 square feet with 5 beds and 5 baths.
Yeah.
Because those are harder to turn around. There's a smaller end buyer pool. We have to think about the fix and flipper. When they fix and flip a house, they have to put it back on the market and sell it to the open market. So a lot more people are looking for those $500,000 houses that are 3-bed, 2 baths. So the most important thing is just keep in mind that the $10,000 fee is pretty good to shoot for.
Right.
And the amount of time, right? You need to look at how much time it takes for you to put in this deal. Whether it's a $1.2 million deal or a $300,000 deal, it's generally going to take you the same amount of time. So you're going to get generally the same amount of ROI.
Right. Before we kind of dive into these steps too, at the end of the day, we're making money, the cash buyer is making money. At what point do I say, well, the cash buyer can make, let's just say $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on this. I still want my fee to be high, maybe even higher than usual, right? So is there any point that I should be like reducing my fee to make them happy? Or is it better for me to just go for the highest wholesale fee that I can? Because I imagine a lot of us will want to do that,
Yeah. And this is where this is where you can bring bad deals to cash buyers.
Right.
So the most important thing is when we find our cash buyers, fix and flippers, we understand what type of profit they're looking for. I'm just going to tell you right now, like, most fix and flippers generally want, at the very least, regardless of price, $30,000 of profit.
30, yeah.
Now that changes, right? If we're buying $1 million, $2 million property, there's more. You just need to understand the risk that's involved with these bigger properties. Longer hold times. They're borrowing $1 million, $2 million of capital. There's more cost of borrowing that money. But to break it down, like, when do you adjust your wholesale fee in order to make a deal work, right?
Yeah.
That was your question. That's the last thing that we want to adjust. So anytime we analyze a deal, I'm at least putting $10,000 into adjusting my purchase price to make sure I get a $10,000 wholesale fee. And let's say I talk to my cash buyers and they say, you know what, Alex, it's a little tight. If we get it $5,000 less, then we'll be able to buy it.
Right.
So where some wholesalers who are starting out might say, oh, let me just cut my wholesale fee in half, call it a day. What I recommend is first we're going to see if we can amend the purchase price. I'm going to talk to the real estate agent, talk to the seller, and see if we can negotiate the price down so I can still at least make my $10,000 wholesale fee.
Right.
It doesn't work all the time, but it absolutely can work. And you can have a 15-minute conversation now that makes you $5,000 more. So that's a pretty effective phone conversation. I'm going to try and find other cash buyers that will then pay a higher amount to hopefully make $10,000 or even more. But let's just say we just have this one cash buyer. I'm going to exhaust all other options as much as possible before reducing my fee because I want myself to make the largest wholesale fee possible. I want to make at least $10,000. In this particular example. So that's the thing you do at the end. And the thing is, we shoot for $10,000. I've done deals where I made $2,000, $3,000. That's still a freaking win, and especially when you're starting out, right? Like you getting paid from knowing nothing about real estate to having no risk to getting paid $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. That's still a huge freaking win. So for anyone watching, or you've done deals or smaller deals, don't discount that. Yeah. Because let's say you do your first deal. Let's say you make $1,000 wholesale fee. You did that knowing next to absolutely nothing. So do you think this next time around, knowing how to negotiate a little bit better, talk a little bit better, maybe just from the confidence of closing a deal, maybe you can squeeze out a little bit more in this next time around? Probably. Yeah. Right? So we need to acknowledge those wins and look at every single deal, whether it works well and we make $20,000 or we maybe make less, we make $2,000. Regardless if it works well or maybe not as well, how could we have made that better? What could we have done? Or what can we pick and pull from? What did I do on that $20,000 deal that I didn't do on the $2,000 deal? Yeah. As long as we have that continual learning, you're going to be A-okay. You're going to be fine in this business.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So let's just say that I'm a beginner. So I'm going to aim for this $10,000 in 30 days. Yeah. You mentioned that there are certain properties I shouldn't go for, obviously, right? So if I'm kind of looking, around 4 properties to wholesale, like where do you recommend the best place to find these types of properties?
Yeah, unless you're in like rural Alaska, I recommend anyone in your own backyard, start in your own backyard, where it's local to you because you know so much more about your market than you think you do. Or we talked before, you grew up in San Diego County. You know the most about San Diego County, probably more than any other county in the United States. Yeah. Or, Riverside County, right? So if you start there, now we completely eliminated, hey, where do I start? You want to start local, start in your own area. That way you can drive to properties if you need to. There's been many deals where agents or cash buyers say, hey, meet me at the property. Could not have done that and closed the deal unless I was local. So you want to start local. And, there's hundreds of ways to find deals. So let's say you want to do this in 30 frickin' days. Yeah. I'm not going to teach you to be a marketer and be a pro at direct response copy in 30 days and how to write letters and how to write letters at scale and spend $5,000 a month in marketing and then teach you how to field these phone calls and filter through the swag, the tire kickers. A lot of people won't get a deal in 30 days doing that. So how do we find active, motivated sellers right now without spending $1 in marketing? That you can find today, right now, in 5 minutes. Yeah, it's going to be pursuing on-market, active, distressed deals, on the market, on your local MLS, the multiple listing service, which is a database of all properties on the market in your area. If you don't have access to the MLS, don't have a relationship with a real estate agent, it's going to be using something like Redfin.com, Realtor.com, or Zillow.com to find these active listings. And we're going to find and filter and only look for the distressed houses that are on the market right now. Right. Like we talked about before, they're going to go to someone that can offer all cash. We as wholesalers can offer all cash on these properties. So immediately right now, today, in our county and every single county across the United States, there are distressed houses that can be wholesaled, that can provide anyone a $10,000 wholesale fee on them. So the deals are there, right? They're right there. So that's now we finish, hey, how do we find the deals? Where are they? They're right there. We use redfin.com, right? And so now it's about what the heck do we need to do to get these deals?
Right.
Yeah. And we understand, hey, the most important thing that we need to do is submit offers on these deals. So what we need to do is find 3 to 5 cash buyers first, local in our area, that are buying deals, understand their buying criteria, exactly what they want, because we're going to be finding the exact properties that they want for them. Okay? Like that's step number 1, what we need to do. And that's not something you need to do every single day, but we need to find these cash buyers, find out exactly what they want. And now on the MLS or on redfin.com, we need to find good deals. Good deals for a cash buyer.
So you're saying actually before I do my research on these properties, I need to find people who will buy them first.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. You need to have the end goal in mind. We need to understand who are cash buyers, who can close quickly on these deals, because when we put these deals under contract, these wholesale deals, for us to be competitive against every other offer out there, we're going to need to have a 14-day closing time frame. That's typical for cash offers. We're offering cash offers, and our partners, our cash buyers, are the ones buying these deals. So we're writing offers in a similar manner with the same terms, offer terms, like the close date, earnest money deposit, inspection contingency of 7 days, similar to them, how they structure their deals, because we're just a conduit. We're basically an acquisitions entity for our cash buyer. That's the way you need to look at yourself.
Right.
You are a deal provider, and you want to be the number 1 deal provider for your cash buyers. So we find these cash buyers first. Once again, you find 3 to 5 local quality ones. Now it's off to the frickin' races. Now if we're talking about making $10,000 in 30 days, cool. I spent a day finding my cash buyers using all the strategies we've talked about before. Now what you need to do, use Redfin, use the MLS, Realtor.com, use Zillow. Just need to use one of them. I'm listing all these out. Don't use all of them. A lot of them have the same listings on there. And now we need to identify these distressed properties.
Got it.
We need to identify these distressed properties. We need to call those real estate agents, see if these properties are, actually if they are distressed. And a lot of times when we call the real estate agent too, they may tell you the seller's motivation, which is absolutely key to getting a deal under contract a lot of the times, right? They may tell you they're going through a divorce and they actually need to sell this in 17 days. Well, guess what? I know that more than likely if this house is in distressed condition and the seller's in a distressed situation, I like to call that a double whammy. It's a lot of distress. It's a lot of motivation to sell that property. I know that this is a hot lead. I know that I can get an offer in today on this property. Like we don't need to wait a day to get an offer in on a property.
Right.
And the goal, like I told you, is to get these offers out. Right. We know generally it's going to take 10 to 15 offers to get a deal accepted.
Yeah.
Right. So we can't dilly-dally. We have to submit offers on a daily basis, make discovery calls on a daily basis, talk to these agents, analyze these deals, and how you know whether it's a good deal or where to offer on this property from talking to the cash buyers. A lot of times they'll tell you what type of return they're looking for, right? They may tell you a percentage of the ARV, the after repair value. They may give you their own deal calculator. They may say, hey, plug in the ARV, plug in the repairs here. You know what? And now if you want $10,000 wholesale fee, now plug in your potential purchase price, and that's exactly what you need to offer for me to make my desired fix and flip profit of $30,000, $40,000, or $50,000 on the deal.
Yeah.
So once we analyze the deal, we know where we need to offer. We can call back that real estate agent. It's just what we need to do every single day. Call back that real estate agent. Our goal is to get an offer in. The goal is to have the agent write up that contract. The goal is once the agent writes up that contract, they send it to us. We sign it, send it back to them. Now all the seller needs to do is sign the dotted line. And then, let's say we get the property under contract, right? So the seller signs the contract. What we now have is an executed contract. You now own the rights to buy this property. Like, congratulations, but it's not done yet. It's not done yet. We now have to. You have the contract rights. You have something of value that every single cash buyer wants. So congratulations, but we need to transfer these contract rights, this value, this property, to our cash buyer.
Right.
So now at that particular point in time, once again, this doesn't need to take days. This could take hours, right? So as soon as you get that property under contract, what are you doing? You're calling your 3 to 5 cash buyers immediately. You're letting them know about this deal. You're letting them know the comps. You're letting them know why you're confident in this deal, why it's a great deal for them. This is everyone here. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you want to be in real estate, everything is sales. You're selling the real estate agent why they should go for you. You're selling your cash buyer on why they should buy this property. And if you're a stand-up person and you analyze your numbers right, then it should be a good deal for them. You should be able to sell with confidence and be able to get them to purchase this deal, right? They want it. It fits their criteria. You took a server approach the whole entire time. So as soon as we get under contract, we contact the cash buyers. We send them all the information we can via email about this particular deal. Maybe you went to the property and you met the agent already. We'll go there and take extra additional photos of the property because maybe there's only 10 on the MLS, but because you went to the property, you took 40 or 50 photos. Now your cash buyers love you because they may not even need to go to the property. You took such great photos of everything. You were clear about it. You weren't trying to hide anything. That, darn, they feel pretty convicted about this property. You know what? Let me just go buy it, walk it with my contractor, and then if it's all good, we can assign the contract, and we're solid.
Yeah.
So at that particular point in time, cash buyer comes to the property, checks it out, says, hey, okay, let's do it. Let's handle the assignment. Now all we need to do is sign an assignment agreement that transfers the rights from you buying this property to your cash buyer. And when we put a property under contract, it's going to either go to escrow or title for a lot of states. Those are the companies that facilitate the closing of a transaction. So we send the assignment agreement, a piece of paper that says, hey, I'm transferring the contract rights for $10,000 to this cash buyer. We send it to escrow and title. In some states, use a real estate attorney. They just handle the closing. So you send it to the attorney, everything's contractual, and you sign the contract rights from you to the end buyer. Now, at that point in time, you can get paid for your assignment fee right there when you sign it. A lot of times what we do is when the property's actually closed, we get paid our $10,000. So if I put the property under contract today and it's the first of the month, then 14 days later when the close date happens, 14 days later, I have such a good relationship with my cash buyers. I don't care if I get paid in 7 days or 14 days. So we just close and get paid once we close on the transaction. So 14 days later. If you really want to speed this up within 30 days, get paid at the assignment. It's completely fine. We structure it in a multitude of ways. And you know, like, why would I want to get paid, you know, first when I handle the assignment? Maybe it's just a buyer I never worked with before. So I might say, you know what, pay me $5,000 at assignment and $5,000 at close. I'm working with you. You don't need to pay me the full thing when I sign it to you. But once we close, then you can go ahead and pay me.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times we handle that in escrow. Sometimes we handle it outside of escrow. For everyone watching, just to make it easier, you can handle it in escrow. If you have an agreement that you're going to get paid $10,000 for the assignment of this contract, escrow, the fix and flipper who's buying the property will buy the property, and from those proceeds, from the funds they bring, you can then be wired a check, or wired it in your bank account, mailed a check, or pick up a check as well. And you can make that $10,000.
Right.
So all of this happens, you know, a lot of this can happen faster than the way I'm explaining it. I'm trying to go through the steps. But it's really just those 7 steps. If we just do that on a daily basis and submit these offers, you understand, hey, if I just put up on my wall, what we do for our clients a lot of times is say, hey, put up an offer goal on your wall so you see it every single day. We don't have our clients put up any other goals around real estate besides this offer goal, because that's what gets us the wholesale deal or the fix and flip deal or the buy and hold deal. You have to submit a certain amount of offers in order to get a deal, in this case 10 to 15. So if you just stick to this and you submit an offer a day, then that's how you get to $10,000 a month.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that if I want to make $10,000, well, the cash buyers also make, say, around about $30,000 for a property, right? I'm just starting out, and you know, one of the questions I had was, I want to make as much money as possible. How do I do that? On the flip side of that, I'm sure there's other people who are like, if I'm first starting out, would you recommend just making my wholesale fee like super low? That way the cash buyer makes a lot of money. I build a relationship really quickly with them. They like me because I'm not greedy, quote unquote. Have you had that situation happen? And would you recommend that for someone starting out? Or would you always stick to $10,000 as a baseline?
Use $10,000 as a starting point.
Right.
Because what's going to happen is we're not going to be as good submitting offers. We're going to overanalyze. We're going to overinflate the ARV on what the property is going to sell for. We're going to deflate whether we know or not the repairs. We're going to underestimate. And a lot of times your wholesale fee, you will have to eat into that in order to wholesale the deal effectively. Yeah. So if you don't know what you're doing when you're starting out and you say, you know what, my goal is just to make a $1,000 wholesale fee, and you plug that in, you run all of your numbers on that, and you assess the property wrong, well, when you have to reduce the purchase price by $5,000 in order to make it work, you can't go to your wholesale fee and reduce the price. So you give yourself a hedge with $10,000 too. I think that's another important thing too. There's a hedge there where there's a $10,000 gap between what you want to sell it for to your cash buyer Right? If you get a property under contract at $190,000 and you want to sell it for $200,000, you make that $10,000 difference.
Right.
Right? If you're cash buyer, or let's just say you got under contract at now $198,000 because you're like, I just want a $2,000 fee. I'm not going to be greedy.
Yeah.
And now the cash buyer says, no, man, I need it at $195,000 and you can't reduce the price by $3,000. You shot yourself in the foot. You shot your cash buyer in the foot. Now you've taken all this time because you didn't put a $10,000 gap in there. So I think it behooves everyone, whether you know it or not, to have a $10,000 fee. There's more room in there. Increases the likelihood of you actually closing the deal, gives you negotiating room. Now the flip side of it, say you have a $10,000 wholesale fee estimate that you want to get. And the only way, right, you've tried to change the price, the purchase price, to reduce it so you get your cash buyer to buy it at a reduced price, so you make a $10,000 wholesale fee and that doesn't work out. Or you tried finding other cash buyers and this is the only cash buyer you have. Then for sure, shave off money off of your wholesale fee, build goodwill with your cash buyer, take $1,000, $2,000 wholesale fee, and say, hey man, or hey girl, whatever he or she is, and let her know, hey, I really wanted to work with you on this deal. I was willing to take a cut on my wholesale fee in order to make this happen. I want to be your number one deal provider. I want to close deals with you. The better we have communication, the closer I can work with you, the bigger profits I can bring you. So this next time around, if we can work even more closely together, then I can make you larger, flip profits.
Right.
And from you taking that server approach, from you understanding their numbers more, increasing communication, that's going to allow you to make bigger wholesale fees.
Right.
When you go off in your corner and you try and play this game all by yourself, and you don't talk to cash buyers, and you don't understand the goals to work with them and sit on the same side of the negotiating table rather than across from each other, once you realize, hey, you're actually working, you both have the same goal in mind. You both want to make as much money as possible. So when you can have that relationship with your cash buyers, and I always say they're partners, to your business. They're not necessarily in your business, but you guys are partners. You both have the same goal in mind. You both want to make money from this transaction. What's going to happen as you start to wholesale multiple deals with the cash buyer, one in particular, there's going to be some deals where might be tighter for them, and they say, you know what, I usually wouldn't do this deal, but because of our relationship, I'm willing to take a $20,000 flip profit or $15,000 flip profit, and I'm going to make sure you get your $10,000 wholesale fee. Yeah. So if you're working with good people, there will be times where they scratch your back and you scratch their back. Like understand that. So if you're actually are being greedy, if you actually don't have other people's interests in mind, no one's ever going to want to scratch your back. You're going to burn bridges. Yeah. So the best relationships I've had, we're on the same level. We both know we want each other to win. I'm willing to take a lower wholesale fee sometimes, and they're willing to take a lower flip profit sometimes. Yeah. Because the other thing is, right, if you can keep closing deals together, you keep running their business, if they can pay you a little more, like this week or this month, than the last time, they know they're helping you out. So the more they keep you in business, the more they're helping their business. So when we see, hey, this is actually mutually beneficial, and you see that, then we're going to be working together. We're going to, like, you're on the same team, and we treat it like a game. It's like a video game. We both want to win. Yeah.
So I guess one of my fears is, say I have the first cash buyer I find, they're interested in the property. They know a lot more than me in the real estate space. I'm a beginner wholesaler, so I'm kind of afraid to be kind of pushed around by them, right? So it's like they say, oh, I want to make this much, so we're going to reduce the fee that you have. So I guess two questions. Is the fee that I'm going to make disclosed right away? When is that disclosed? And have you ever had a cash buyer kind of push you around? And how did you negotiate your way to get to $10,000 for your fee?
That's a phenomenal question. So let's say communication is so important. So let's say I'm talking to cash buyer for the first time. Tell them what you expect from a deal. Yeah. Tell them, hey, generally we expect about $10,000 on a deal. Does that sound good?
Right. So being upfront that with them, yeah.
So cool. Now you're implanting $10,000 in their mind, all right, from the get-go. I'll tell you what, a true cash buyer, sophisticated cash buyer, does not freaking care what they pay you unless they hit their minimum profit that they need on a deal. A true cash buyer, sophisticated cash buyer, is willing to pay you $100,000 on a deal as long as they hit their minimum profit on a deal. The truth is, a cash buyer, if you bring them a good deal that hits their minimum profit, they shouldn't care what you make. You should be rewarded for putting a property under contract significantly under value.
Yeah.
If you do have room to get a $50,000 wholesale fee, you can make a $50,000 wholesale fee. This fix and flipper could make a $40,000 wholesale fee, given that this is a $500,000 property, right? They're not taking on exponential risk because it's a $2 million property. Mm-hmm. You can get larger wholesale fees just like we do and we've done.
Yeah.
So that's really important just to have that knowledge there. And now the second part of your question was, do we disclose that wholesale fee? That leads perfectly into it, right? Mm-hmm. So if we previously preemptively let them know, hey, we're shooting for at least $10,000 wholesale fees. Now they know in their mind. Now the expectations are aligned somewhat from the get-go. And this can happen. You meet a cash buyer, you talk about that 2 weeks prior before you even find a deal for them. Mm-hmm. Cool. You set yourself up for success in that regard. Now, when we assign the contract, the wholesale fee is disclosed. So they will know how much they are paying us.
Yeah.
But this is why strategically what I teach all of our clients or students, even what I share online, is that when I reach out to a cash buyer, let's say you have a deal under contract, let's say you got it at $190,000 under contract. Mm-hmm. You know that. And you know that it works at $200,000 for your cash buyer, and they're going to make a $40,000 wholesale fee on it at $200,000.
Yeah.
When I talk to my cash buyer initially, when I send them an email of the numbers on this deal, I'm going to tell them, hey, the ARV is $320,000, the repairs are $40,000, your purchase price is $200,000. I'm not saying, hey, I have it under contract at $190,000, my wholesale fee is $10,000, the repairs are $40,000, and the ARV is $320,000.
Right.
You don't want them thinking about your wholesale fee at all. All you want to do when you talk to them initially, if you're dealing under contract, is does this deal work for you at this purchase price or not? Mm-hmm. That's all we need to discuss at this point in time. You don't need to worry about my wholesale fee.
Right.
Because guess what? If you know it works at $200,000 for them, and you got under contract at $50,000, or sorry, $150,000. Let's use that example.
Yeah.
At $150,000, you should be able to get a $50,000 wholesale fee on it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we don't tell them the wholesale fee up front, because our discussions with the cash buyer is, do they want it or not? And let's talk about, does $200,000 work for you? And if not, we can then talk about adjusting the price if we need to. Mm-hmm. But good cash buyers will let you know, hey, yes, it works for me. Maybe it does. Maybe they need to be sold on a little bit more, or like, no, it doesn't. Whatever they say, maybe or no, I'm asking what price, where would it work for you? Mm-hmm. I need feedback. Feedback. And the best way to mitigate your risk is never pigeonhole yourself to one cash buyer. All of this can be alleviated if you do exactly what I say and you find 3 to 5 cash buyers. Mm-hmm. 5 is better than 3, let me tell you that. Because now, let's say you have the same conversation, same email to all of them, and say you're worried about getting taken advantage of. The likelihood of being taken advantage of on 5 people that you've authentically built relationships with, that you both want each other to win, that you're taking the server approach, taking the time to understand what they want, the likelihood of being taken advantage of from 5 different people that don't know each other is probably really low.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The likelihood of being taken advantage of when you only have one particular person, one exit strategy, one cash buyer, it just increases. You don't have a backup plan yourself. So when I say 3 to 5 cash buyers, that's just to let you know, and anyone starting out, you don't need to find hundreds. If you find 3 to 5 local quality ones, and the goal is that you're aligned and have this mutually beneficial relationship in mind. Mm-hmm. You're aligned. You both want each other to win.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people that are narcissists. There's a lot of people that only think about themselves. There's a lot of people that are sharks. They are out there. I'll admit that. I don't want to work with them. Mm-hmm. Right? The person only thinks about themselves. I want to be on a team with my cash buyer. Mm-hmm. I want us both to win. So you said, hey, I'm afraid of being pushed around. I mean, another thing that helps is having, consultants or advisors or coaches or mentors that can talk you through this. Like a lot of what I'm talking about is over 12 years of experience doing this. Yeah. Doing deals all across the United States. So you don't know what you don't know, and I understand that. And I'm trying to explain as much as I can, and also why a lot of these answers to these questions are so long-winded, because there's a lot to unpack in 12 years. There's a lot from hundreds of deals to unpack in here. But you mitigate your risk of being pushed around. You mitigate your risk of, getting someone negotiating your wholesale fee by not telling them your wholesale fee initially.
Right.
By telling them their purchase price, And just by having multiple cash buyers.
Yeah,
100%.
avenues that would most likely pay the $10,000 that I want, right?
Yes.
If one doesn't, I have 4 more options. That's why that pool's so important. Yeah.
Exactly. And you know, I generally say, hey, find 3 to 5 because I believe in the good in people 100%. I believe if I call a cash buyer, I'm like, hey, let's get coffee too. Like, let's check in. Cool. Do you have kids? Where are you from?
Yeah.
I think I've really, I'm making this person like me. I hope they don't want to take advantage of me.
Yeah.
If they do, cash buyers are abundant. I'll never work with that person ever again. That's
Right.
fine. There's people like that I've had. It's like, okay, cool. I don't need you in my life. You don't need to be a part of my business. That's fine. There's dozens of other cash buyers that I could be finding.
Yeah.
So that's I think a lot of people think these cash buyers may be scarce. They're not. They're not. There's more out there. So if one doesn't want to work with you or they're pushing you around, find another one.
Yeah.
And so
I think also it's like thinking about them as a person like you too. It's kind of hard for a beginner to like come across. You imagine them as a shark only trying to make money, and if you don't come in like hot like a shark too, that they might deny you. But realistically, it's like there are cash buyers who are just like you, who
100%.
are kind and want to work with you on good deals, and like will just be a normal person. Yeah, so it's really good that you said that.
Yeah,
sure.
the when we say cash buyer, right? Like your name is Tim.
Yeah.
And when I think about cash buyers, it's Nate, it's Chris, it's Troy, it's Brian, right?
Yeah.
So first name basis. When I say cash buyer, I'm grouping all these different types of people in there. I know the person I'm talking to. I know the person on a first name basis, right? The relationships with my cash buyers, just so you understand when they get to, it's like, cool, we invite each other to each other's birthday parties, or children's birthday parties. We, hey, let's go hang out on the bay or the beach, or hey, man, I have an extra computer monitor I'm not using. Do you want it? Hey, man, I have this extra ticket to this event. Do you want to go? Like those are the relationships that go up, that go on. And some of the cash buyers I worked with are some of my best friends 12 years later.
Wow, yeah.
Because we have so many similar interests. So I think if you can, your goal is to get to that level of you both want each other to win. It's kind of like a friend in a way. And so if you just take that approach, you're going to be good. Like no one develops a really good friend in one day.
Right. Yeah.
So these relationships can be built over time. And at the end of the day, you can throw all the relationship stuff out the window. If you just find them a good deal, the cash buyers will buy it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very reassuring to know. Yeah, so thank you. So just to recap everything that was kind of given to me today. Find my cash buyers 3 to 5.
Yep.
Find a good deal for them. There are free softwares, Redfin, Zillow. I can do that. Distressed properties only, though.
Only.
So properties that can be flipped, that an investor would want to flip.
Yep.
Our cash buyers would want to buy to flip.
Yep.
Discovery calls to make sure that it's a good property for wholesaling.
Yep.
Analyze the deals, run those numbers, use their calculator, our calculators.
Yep.
Send that to the cash buyer as a good deal.
Yep.
Get that property under contract at the desired upon price from both of you.
Yep.
Assign that contract, close, make $10,000, hopefully in 30 days, which, when we put it out like that, seems simple but hard. I guess my main problem is kind of the end. You mentioned things like escrow, title. Like, I feel like a lot of things can go wrong in that scenario for a beginner. So how would you what are the recommended steps that you take in that process to do the smoothest transition possible?
I think first, if you've never heard the word escrow, I didn't know what escrow was when I started. What the heck is escrow? Before I got into real estate, I don't have any family members in real estate or anything. So I remember vividly hearing the word escrow. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
So we write articles about these topics, title companies, escrow. So you can check it out on realestateskills.com. Just Google what is escrow in real estate. Google, what's a title company in real estate. Google what's a real estate closing attorney. Just familiarize yourself with it. That way you understand what they are and who they are and where they play in the process. All they are the people that help close the deal. These aren't people you need to convince about the deal. Their job is to abide by the paperwork.
Right.
So when we wholesale deals on the market, we're using the Association of Realtors contract, right? We have real estate agents write up these contracts. These are used to for hundreds of millions in transactions a year. These are the most commonly used contracts. So if we plug in all of our offer terms into the actual contract, we send that to escrow, title, or closing attorney, this is business as usual for them. An assignment is business as usual for them. This is business as usual. So I understand there's fear in the unknown, but their job is just to process paper at the end of the day. So how do you facilitate a smooth transaction? Understand they're not your enemy. They're supposed to be completely neutral and third party, and they're supposed to just push the paperwork, move it forward, make sure that all of the dates are met. Because when you send, hey, we're closing in 14 days, it's escrow's job and title company's job to make sure it closes in frickin' 14 days. And guess what? We need to extend a day or 2 or 3 after the closing date. They're going to let everyone know. Escrow's going to let everyone know, hey, money is wired. The property's been officially closed. They're going to let you know all of these things. So awareness is one of the most important things, getting an understanding. And then your role in this transaction, once you get the property under contract and you assign it, right, you send the paperwork to escrow, title, or the attorney, and it clearly states an addendum what it is. All it needs to be is a piece of paper that says, hey, we're transferring the contract rights from our company name or my personal name to my cash buyer's name, and I'm getting a $10,000 wholesale fee or a $10,000 assignment fee for this. We sign it, boom. Escrow knows I'm to be paid $10,000 wholesale fee. They're going to abide by the paperwork. Right. They're going to abide by the paperwork. Your role in this, once you wholesale it, the way I look at it is you're an assistant to this transaction now. You're a facilitator. You're going to be on the email chain with the attorney, with the title company, with the escrow company, and so is your cash buyer. So all you need to do is be on it like a hawk, but look at what's going on. See if you just help facilitate any information the cash buyer needs, right? If there's a lot of questions going back and forth, how can you be a mediator or help answer any questions for your cash buyer? Because maybe he's asking escrow a question that you know, give him a call, talk to him about it, right? So just being looking at the deal and making sure it's a smooth transaction, just being, a part of it.
Yeah.
Just moving it across the line. Because at this point, the deal it's on the 1 yard line. Yeah. So just, helping it get across the line as much as you can. A lot of the times you don't need to do anything. Your cash buyers are going to close. Yeah. But it's just be aware. Just watch what's going on and see if you can help out and move it across the line.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Definitely have a lot of confidence now that you put it that way too. So I had the systems, the processes to make $10,000 wholesaling in 30 days or less. I know I have the time now to do it as long as I'm diligent and dedicated and disciplined. Any tips that you can give me if I want to say, let's say I want to start tomorrow?
Yeah. Let's just do 3 solid ones. So number 1, just stay consistent. So when I say an offer a day, it doesn't mean an offer a week, doesn't mean an offer a month. Send a frickin' offer a day. A written offer a day. That's what's going to get you there. If the month end comes and you say, Alex, I made 100 phone calls. I did so much hard work. I didn't get a deal. I'm still going to say, how many offers did you send? And if you say 0, I'll be like, okay, that's why you didn't get any deals. The reality is you got to understand you can't get a deal under contract unless you submit a written offer, unless you submit a contract. That's the only way. Yeah. That's the only way you get a deal under contract. So stay consistent, hit that goal, make your discovery calls, analyze deals. It's going to be harder and slower in the beginning. Just like you try anything for the first time. There's going to be a lot to learn, but stick at it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, keep going. So stay consistent. Number 2, the most successful people I know have a special relationship with failure. They don't believe in it. They look at failure as feedback. Any call you make that does not go well to a real estate agent, to a cash buyer, ask yourself, how could I have made that better? What could I have done better? Any deal you put on a contract that works or doesn't work, say, how could I have done that better? How could I have got it at a lower price? Any deal you close and successfully get paid, how could I have done that better? How could I have got a larger wholesale fee? What did I learn from this deal that I can take to the next deal to make it even smoother? So use every opportunity you have as a learning experience.
Right.
Not a day goes by in real estate where, something new pops up, right? Every single deal is a little bit different. I'm learning all the time.
Yeah.
Different closing strategies or, different states, different cities. It's so different. I take everything in as feedback. And if you do that, then failure is just on the path to success. And that's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe the most successful people can handle the most no's, handle the most rejection, handle the most quote unquote failure.
Yeah.
It's what you do in those situations or with those obstacles, and the best people just turn those obstacles into opportunities.
Yeah.
So number one, just stay consistent. Submit an offer a day if you want to make $10,000 in 30 days. 2, learn from everything that you do. Learn from every offer that you send, every phone call you make. And then 3, be relentless. Go all in. Do whatever it takes. Make the sacrifices. Be willing to go the distance. Be willing to go further than the next person. Most people in life live an average life. Be above average in everything that you do. Doesn't mean you got to exhaust yourself and burn yourself out. Just means try a little harder than the next person, learn a little more than the next person, and stretch your comfort zone on a daily basis. Be relentless. Do whatever it takes, because that is what it takes.
Yeah.
100%. Nothing worthwhile in life, in my opinion, comes easy. It takes hard work. And the minute you think that it is easy and that you're done learning is the minute and the day that you've stopped learning and you're actually declining in your skill sets and your abilities. So keep on learning, be relentless, do whatever it takes. And if you do that, then I have no doubt you're going to be able to make this happen. Because I've seen so many people be able to wholesale their first houses. I've seen so many people change their lives who started with no experience, who've had the full-time jobs, who've had every reason they could have used to create a story on why they couldn't do a thing. I've seen so many successful people that there's no reason why you can't do it, and no reason why any listener here can't do it as well.
Yeah. Why not me, right?
Exactly. Why not you?
Why not me?
Why not you?
Well, thank you so much. I've learned a lot in our time together, and hopefully the next time I'm in this seat, I've made $10,000 in 30 days. That's the goal. So thank you very much for having me, as always. And anything else you want to say?
Just no, thank you for doing this, Tim. Thanks for hopping on here and being vulnerable. I know it's not easy being on camera. And the goal here, I've done a lot of personal development events and grown personally throughout the years, and we wanted to have this medium, this way of doing it. So as I'm sharing with you, our viewers, our community can learn, hopefully, through your learning, through this sharing. So I hope anyone watching, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. If you've watched our channel, we love trying to respond to every single one that comes in. And so please, I encourage you to do that. And if you have any video ideas, if you like this format too, or maybe any questions that Tim should be asking me, then we'll probably do that. So please check out realestateskills.com if you want to learn more about real estate investing and how you can get started. And I'll see you in the next one.